We have young men and women on our internet speaking about all sorts of things, and while they are creating their gaming videos, they're speaking about things that are going on in their walk of life. Their lifestyles are coming through their words in their games and in their makeup tutorials and in their this and their that videos. There's shouting and there's unrest on our college campuses. Continuously devising new tools to block content because they don't want their people to know. Of all people that should be all of the young people in these socialist countries are seeing this on the internet, and they say, we don't want this no more. We cannot have this anymore. They need to control and harness and regulate the media that their population sees. Socialism is a fancy, pretty term to cover up what is really beneath it, which is communism. Speaking to you as a content creator today, a content creator on the internet in these here United States. What I'm going to be talking about is Article 13, but I'm going to be talking about a much broader topic than that, because the reality and the underpinnings, what is really behind Article 13, it goes way deeper than what it says it is. Article 13 is disguised behind the words of creative copyright license. Article 13 is not about copyright content. It's a tool used by a socialist government to withhold information from its populace. Socialism is about population control. It isn't just about birth control and about abortion. It's not just about the beginning of life or the end of life. It's about controlling what the population sees and hears and reads. I'm aware of a lot of this because I am the daughter of immigrants, legal immigrants who came into our country. They came here to escape other socialist countries, and that's why I'm familiar with what socialist governments do. I was educated at a time when the school systems in the United States would tell us honestly the realities of socialism and communism and fascism. Socialism is a fancy, pretty term to cover up what is really beneath it, which is communism. That is what is really underneath. Communism and fascism is the reality underneath the name, the pretty name of socialism. There is nothing pretty or sweet or cool about socialism. Article 13 is an example of that. Another example of it is the cookie control, the cookie notices. As a content creator on the internet, I serve content on many different platforms. YouTube creators and other content creators on the internet just may be the saving grace that saves the United States from going under socialist control. Internet content creators should be the people who are most responsibly and closely aware of what true socialism is, of what democracy under a free country is, what capitalism means. The only way that we can earn a living on the internet as content creators is by living in a free society that is a capitalist society. That is the only way we can earn money and keep the money that we earn and create the content that we really want to create. As an internet content creator, I've seen many things. Among the people that I want to speak to are the girls that want to talk about putting pretty pink nail polish on their toenails, who want to talk about eyelash extensions. There are girls on the internet teaching you how to masturbate and how to have sex. Those are the people who I want to speak to, as well as the people who are in the gaming community and the other parts of YouTube. The people who want freedom to talk about and do what they want to do, they need to live and work in a free society. I've been living in freedom all of my life in the United States. My family came to America to escape the hardships that come under socialist government. There is nothing pretty, smart, or safe about a socialist government. Article 13 and the other controls put on our internet by the European Union is just one example of a socialist society. They need to control and regulate the media that their population sees. Grandparents and one of my parents were born in a socialist country. Socialist was just a term that was hung over the top of communism in that specific country. In some countries it's fascism, and they replaced it with the pretty umbrella term of socialism. However, the underpinnings of communism is still there. It stays. That doesn't change. It only changes on the face of things. Outward behaviors are somewhat regulated if it's called socialism rather than communism or fascism. But the control is still there. One of my grandparents in particular actually grew up in slavery in her country under communist rule, under the rule of a dictatorship. There was a family that was in control of that country, over parts of that country. It was called a monarchy, the Habsburg monarchs. My grandmother grew up on a plantation in slavery. Never knew anything different. When my grandmother was 16 years old, that monarchy was overthrown. At that time, they were able to leave the plantation that they were living on. The monarch had actually been overthrown 2 years prior because their media was being controlled. They had no access to radio or newspapers. They didn't know that the Habsburg monarch had been defeated. My grandmother comes to the United States. All of my grandparents are in the United States legally, and they all thankfully become citizens because they know that there is no socialism in the United States of America. So I grow up here. My grandmother taught me, one of my grandmothers in particular, taught me what it was to grow up in her country. Bits and pieces. I didn't learn all that I would have liked to learn, but I did learn some very important lessons from them. The way a government controls people is by controlling what they see. They can control the magazines and newspapers that come into their towns and villages. They can control the television signal that comes in. They can stop the radio signals. But then along came the internet. I am sure all hell broke loose. They are creating their gaming videos. They're speaking about things that are going on in their walk of life. Their lifestyles are coming tutorials, and in their this and their that videos, they're shouting, and there's unrest on our college campuses. All of the young people in these socialist countries are seeing this on the internet, and they say, we don't want this no more. We cannot have this anymore. So they need to begin to start to blocking content. Thus comes the cookie notice. Thus comes the Article 13.